So, big news from the other side of the world that you need to know. The 13-year-old daughter of Baidu, which is the equivalent of Google, Baidu's VP Xie Guangjun with a Weibo account. She had a Weibo account and she was a fan of a K-pop idol. She had doxed dozens of people over the internet arguments she was in, and she posted personal information like their ID number. There was public outreach, and as a result, Baidu stocks plummeted 4%. Baidu's AI model Ernie 4.5 release was affected as well. Here's why you need to know this. So, Baidu is the equivalent of Google in China, right? Google was banned, so massive amounts of users are migrating off of Baidu as a result of this. And also Baidu's Ernie 4.5 is part of the AI race, so it's something that we need to, everybody needs to keep an eye on. Baidu responded by proposing all Chinese social media platforms to form an anti-doxing alliance. That's something that we need to be aware of as well, because it sets a precedence. So let's unpack these events. There are some nuances. The reason why this blew up was a pregnant woman was doxed. And a 13-year-old published the target's real name, ID number, workplace, her husband's contact on Weibo, and as a result of harassment resulting from all of this, the pregnant woman, the victim, actually had to delete her Weibo. And the 13-year-old also claimed to be a visa student in Canada, and she said, "My dad works at Baidu," and she also said, and there are screenshots of the group chat saying, hey, if you, I can actually use my dad's account to dox people. I can access all of their personal information because my dad is an important VP at Baidu. Clearly, people are being mad, right? So, here's a screenshot of, a few, relevant photos that you need to know from this. So PRC has been enforcing real name registration for a while. Every social media platform holds a copy of your ID, and your primary key is your phone number. Naturally, this caused a lot of anxiety, and people were like, this could be me. Also, there's a lot of historical resentment for privileged youth sent abroad for education. And here's the issue. Average internet users assume 13-year-old used their dad's data access to dox people, because that's what she said. That's why Baidu was being boycotted. And Baidu did rapid response and PR management. So on March the 17th, they said, personal info access is restricted. Not every employee can access that. Certainly not just the VP. Security controls are in place. Sensitive info is encrypted, hashed, your standard practices, and accordingly, the 13-year-old did not dox people this way. And Baidu investigation determined that no sensitive data access from Xie Guangjun's account, the VP, and there was none, and they would have audit logs for this stuff. So the info the 13-year-old posted was obtained from these social engineering databases via Telegram bots, group chats. There would be payments involved. Sometimes they could be free. Baidu states that the data is anonymized, the access control is in place, but the public does not believe this. So the ongoing thing is that the public is dissatisfied with Xie Guangjun's apology, which he posted to WeChat friend circles only. So the public would not be able to see it. Only his friends would be able to see it, but there's a screenshot circulating around. And the public mistrust of Baidu is in place, and they demand more accountability. Weibo kind of stepped back from all of this, and the focus was all on Baidu. And the issue with that is a lot of these social engineering databases were sourced from data of data leaks over the years, part of which was there was a huge leak in 2019 with Weibo accounts, Weibo user accounts information. So a lot of this, the reason why people's info was out there in the first place was Weibo, but nobody's really quite zooming onto this. Baidu was kind of the center of focus. Yeah, so that's, at the moment, People want more accountability, and there's massive public awareness of personal OPSEC as a result. And that's a country with a lot of people, right? So this is significant. It's a culture change. It's a culture shift. And as a result, there's a lot of misinformation. When people are anxious and in fear like that, there would be people out there taking advantage of this anxiety and fear. So far, I've talked about facts and, sticking to kind of journalistic integrity. I'm sharing facts with no opinions. This is an anchor point. I'm going to start talking about my opinions. So if you're watching this, scroll forward, shift the thingy forward. For facts, I'm going to start with thoughts now. There are a few things we can learn from this. And there are things that we should watch out from this. Lesson number one. Baidu's PR and public relations and trust crisis is rooted in a lack of public education around how personal data is protected in large software systems. And Baidu's valuation plummeted by 6 billion renminbi because the public could not trust and understand tech lingo in the announcement. Could Baidu have prevented this if they had more helpful layman-friendly content for, hey, here's how we handle your data? Their statement read perfectly reasonable to people like me who work with software, but it came across as pretty arrogant and dismissive to people who don't. So without authoritative knowledge your average users can trust, conspiracy theories are going to get very popular. And Baidu proposing an anti-doxing alliance to help doxing victims is a great move, and I really hope it happens. And I think that the West could take some examples from this, but it really sucks that users just don't trust Baidu anymore. People are up in arms, and they're evacuating off of every service they offer, and they offer a lot of services. They offer things like cloud storage, like search, forums. So public sentiment is tricky, even with strict controls and SEO management. Things cannot be suppressed. Opinions will just, ferment. People will say what they want to say, and it's a problem every software product has. So the question here, really, if you work on software, is how do we lower the bar for communicating with users? How do we raise trust? How do we talk and not sound like jargony assholes, right? Lesson 2 here is parenting. As a parent of a teen, here's what the things that I'm thinking about from this. What is the level of social media presence that we need to audit for our kids? What is the balance for respect for their autonomy and privacy and safety versus ensuring that we catch them when they conduct themselves in problematic ways? How do we keep that communication channel open? Because teenagers may not necessarily want to talk to you, And that's totally normal. It's age appropriate. So also we share a network with our kids. As tech workers, how do we ensure our kids get the same knowledge that we do around OPSEC and ethical conduct? If you have one device compromised on the family network and boom, all your shit is in danger now. How do we provide this education? Make sure that it sticks, It's a really hard problem. How do we talk to them so they realize the gravity? I've been having ongoing conversations with my team about cybersecurity stuff, so they know not to install weird browser extensions, run weird scripts they don't understand, protect their identity online, etc., etc. These conversations started as soon as they had access to a computer. So if you have a kid, start early, start right away. Lesson 3 is how misogyny worked with this whole thing. So 3 things came together to make this blow up. A pregnant victim, 13-year-old rich girl living abroad, above PRC law, and the K-pop star fandom. All keywords. This was big because critical vitriol in all of this comes from the fact that the primary victim is a pregnant woman and the perp is a rich teen girl. Low birth rates and women being kind of called back to the family literally everywhere in the world right now. So it means somebody pregnant is the perfect victim to create the perfect storm. It's also big because there's historical vitriol and resentment built on privileged classes from China sending their offspring abroad, often with embezzled money. People probably immediately remembered Qu Wanting when Xie's 13-year-old daughter posted on Weibo, "I'm in Canada. Sure, call the police. You can't get me." So Qu Wanting, She's a singer, and she was also the girlfriend of Vancouver Mayor Gregor Robertson between 2014 to 2017. Her mom embezzled a lot of money. So if you like, you know, I have a few links in the description. You can go ahead and Google Translate them and read these. You should. This is where it gets a little personal for me. I'm from Harbin, where Xu Guanting's mom embezzled settlement money for laid off Harbin factory workers. Winters are brutal there, so she ruined a lot of families. A lot of people died. And so the moment Xie's 13-year-old said, I'm in Canada, call the cops, whatever, the internet immediately remembered. And the thing is, like, here is like Xu Guanting and her mom, Zhang Mingjie, are the faces of this very historical problem of embezzlement in PRC being actively addressed. We forget the most of the corrupt officials are actually men. So why are these, like, this woman and her daughter kind of the face of the problem? Do you see what I mean? So we kind of see this escalation of hatred towards Xie's daughter for the same reason. I wonder what would be different if the 13-year-old were a son. So I'll wrap this up for now. I'll come back if there are more updates that you should know about. I've been watching this for days, wanting to report back to the Anglophone world, but I was in the middle of taking care of a bunch of things, so here we go. Thank you for watching.